Hi, everyone, and welcome to Module 1. Even though we are in week 2, this is our first learning module, first content-driven learning module for this course. So our focus is very basic this week. What is disciplinary literacy? What we'll cover today are the purpose of this module, the texts that you'll be expected to engage with during this module, the graded assignments that you will be expected to turn in, and looking ahead to the rest of the semester and how this module connects. So the purpose of this module is when you do everything in this module, you are going to recognize the meaning and importance of disciplinary literacies. You will be able to identify and analyze the essential literacies of your own discipline, and you will connect the literacies of your discipline with the big questions or essential questions that drive research, scholarship, and practice in your field. So a little bit of background knowledge. What do I mean by discipline? A lot of times, this is another one of these words that we have in our fields, we use in education, or that you use in your own fields, that we use differently than it is used in common parlance. So I don't mean, your ability to stick to something or your willingness to wake up at 5 in the morning to do exercise. By discipline, what I mean is your subject area or your field. So in the literature on this topic, content area literacy and disciplinary literacy are two different approaches to studying this subject area. But the terms content area and discipline, those two terms are still very similar. Discipline has a little bit more of a connotation of being used in the professional areas, or being used professionally as opposed to in school. So content area has the ring of this is a subject in school, and discipline wants you to acknowledge that, yes, this is a subject in school, but it is a subject in school because it is an area of study in real life in the world. So I'll use the terms interchangeably because I kind of want you to get used to hearing both and using both. But it is also important, and I don't mean to gloss over the distinctions between the different views that we have in this field. Okay, so I'm going to use disciplinary literacy more frequently because my perspective aligns with the perspective of the folks who argue for disciplinary literacy. So that's what you'll hear me use most often, but just do note that there is overlap, there is similarity. What disciplinary literacy is not, and what some people were afraid of when it first sort of hit the scene, is every teacher teaching phonics. So all of a sudden, I'm a science teacher. I have to teach all of these things in the curriculum, in the standards, but now I have to take a break and teach spelling or teach phonics. That's not what we mean by disciplinary literacy. We do not mean having poetry lessons in math class, though if you are an aspiring math teacher, I would absolutely encourage you to incorporate poetry if you felt so moved. We don't mean persuasive essays in science class, because in science class, that's not what we write. In the field of that's not what scientists write, right? In that discipline, the writing that scientists do is based on research, based on factual discoveries or inquiry. So the type of writing that they do, labs and different things, grant proposals, the type of writing that scientists do is real in their field. It's important to their field. And so the type of writing that we should teach in science class, or the type of literacy that we should teach in science class, should be the types of literacies that will prepare students to do the actual work of science. Okay, the same with math, the same with phonics, the same with the arts, the same of health and physical education. So that's just sort of in a nutshell what disciplinary literacies is sort of all about. You're going to dig more deeply into disciplinary literacies using these texts this week. So you're going to come up with your own sort of understanding and build your own comfort level with this discipline. So I've got 3 videos that I want you to watch. To engage with, excuse me, don't just watch them, but watch them actively. One is Jamila Lyscott's 3 Ways to Speak English. Now, this is a practical example of different literacies for different contexts. Okay, she's a spoken word poet. She's a faculty member as well, and an educator. But this video is pretty brief, and it gives us a beautiful example of the way that we use different language, or we use language differently in different contexts. Okay, this is also true in school and in the scholarly fields. There's a video of Elizabeth Mohe at AERA, that's the American Educational Research Association, I believe, something along those lines. It's a big organization in the field of education. And Mohe provides, she's a very famous researcher involved in lots of things. You've probably heard her name in other classes. But she provides sort of a philosophical foundation and ways forward in terms of disciplinary literacy. And then finally, I have a video called The Power of Literacy. And that puts the philosophy to work in a school. So it gives you some examples of teachers and students and shows you how one school is putting the idea of disciplinary literacies to work. After you watch those videos, I would like for you to read chapter 1 of our textbook. That is located in the course resources folder. And I want you to pay particular attention to the notions that emerge from that chapter, how it's founded in inquiry, how disciplinary literacies are founded in a sort of inquiry approach to learning. And then very explicitly, they talk about disciplinary literacies connections to deeper learning. And they lay those out in figure 1.1 of chapter 1. So I want you to pay particular attention to those. And then I have an article for you that's 100 or maybe hundreds of essential questions. And this is just, I say article, it really is a list, a bulleted point list, and it talks about some of the different essential questions that drive research and scholarship and practice in the fields. And so I want you, as you're reading that, to pay attention to which ones are relevant to your field and your interests, in particular in your field or in your discipline. The assignments that I'd like you to complete, I have created module 1 before, during, and after guide, and I want you to submit that in the journal link that is in this module. And that, because that is a before, during, and after, and that's something that, or an approach to focusing folks in on their reading and writing and learning that we're going to talk a lot about throughout the course of this class. Before, clearly, as the name suggests, means before you read. So I want you to download this guide from our module and answer those questions under the before section before you start reading the text, before you start engaging with the videos. I want you to answer those questions with sort of a clean slate. Then as you're reading and writing, or reading and watching the videos, you'll answer the during questions, and then after you're finished, you'll answer the final questions in after, and then you'll submit the whole thing to your journal, to the journal link that's in the module. So looking ahead, those essential questions that you identify and that you sort of engage with this week are going to guide you in finding a focus for your HAT, your Hallmark Assessment Task, which is the big disciplinary text set that we put together as the culminating project of this course. Identifying the literacies that are of importance in your field and in your own interests are going to guide the reading and writing guides that you create. So those are 2 of our other great big assignments, which you'll remember from the syllabus. And finally, understanding the importance of engaging students in authentic disciplinary work is going to help you become an amazing teacher. I know you're well on your way, and this class is here to support you on that journey. So that's our week. That's our module 1. I look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thanks so much.